Wait, did Camron just go too far? The leaked video may have ruined his decades-long relationship with Jim Jones, and this time it's not a publicity stunt. A video of Chrissy Elkin's private and totally unfit for public consumption has surfaced. But here's the part that has insiders pointing fingers at Camron. Jim isn't keeping quiet anymore. He's exploding across all platforms, releasing decades of pent-up resentment. It's not just about the video anymore. We're talking about backroom deals, missed opportunities, and a brotherhood that may have been a lie. Was this a petty move gone wrong? Or was this a calculated betrayal meant to humiliate Jim in the dirtiest way possible? Because the truth isn't just shocking, it's ugly. And once you hear it, you won't be able to unsee it. So don't blink, don't scroll, and most definitely don't click away. If you've ever watched two kings turn into enemies in real time, this isn't a breakup. It's a demolition of the dipset. And believe me, what you're about to hear will forever alter your perception of Camron. You would think that after all these years of street brotherhood, dipset loyalty, and a joint ascent to hip-hop royalty, there would be some sort of unwritten boundary that Camron wouldn't dare cross. But apparently loyalty dies in silence because what happened isn't just betrayal. It's nuclear. Let's go back in time. It all began with a leak. But this was not just any leak. It was a personal, graphic, and emotionally offensive one. A private video of Chrissy Elkin, Jim Jones's longtime partner, ride or die, and a highly esteemed matriarch figure appeared unexpectedly on a dubious burner Twitter account with no followers, no tags, and no captions. The uncut, raw video was released like a digital bomb on the internet. Timeline. Initially, people believed it to be a deepfake. Then they believed it to be old footage. But within hours, Chrissy's face was trending, and the internet did what it does best. Detective mode edits began to appear. TikTok reactions went viral, and Twitter was already saying Cam did it before anyone could verify or refute the clip's veracity. Now, why would Camron release such a video? What could he possibly stand to gain by revealing such a private matter? Was it retaliation or spite? Or is there something more sinister simmering beneath the surface of their supposed fraternal bond? Let's take a moment to review history, as this wasn't the first instance of conflict between Cam and Jim. See, Dipset was never as perfect as it seemed. From the outside, there was constant rivalry over who actually led the crew. Camron, the charismatic mastermind, Jim Jones, the heart, and the street muscle, behind the colorful bandanas and flashy music videos. However, as their empire grew, more flaws became apparent, including brief, subtle jabs in interviews, passive-aggressive verses, cryptic Instagram stories, and then the explosive moments, such as the infamous 2017 Hot 97 interview, where Cam revealed everything from financial betrayals to internal rivalry, left fans perplexed. But the core Dipset audience knew this was a wound that would never heal. In 2025, we're back in that trauma, but this time it's Chrissy. Not music, but family. What's worse is the history between Chrissy and Camron. You recall the early 2000s, when Chrissy was a mainstay on the scene, not only as Jim's partner, but also as a shrewd businesswoman making genuine moves. There were constant rumors that Cam didn't approve, that he believed Chrissy was dictating Jim's business choices. Some even said Cam tried to persuade Jim to leave her in order to concentrate on music and become less domesticated. At the time, it seemed like harmless barber hop talk. But looking back, that could have been the seed of the silent, simmering resentment that grew over decades. Now, with just one leak, Camron might have just let sources close to the matter who spoke to us anonymously for their own protection claim that the video was shot more than 10 years ago and that it captured a private moment that was never intended to be seen, but for some reason it did. This is where it becomes even more suspicious. According to one insider, that Cam and Jim were seen together at a Rock Nation brunch just days prior to the leak, which is even more shocking. The video was saved on a now-defunct Dipset hard drive that only a select few people ever had access to, and that Cam allegedly took when the crew split up during their mid-2010 fallout. Jim Jones didn't remain silent for long. Less than 24 hours after the video went viral, Jim Jones uploaded a black screen to his Instagram story with the simple words, "I see you." Fans went crazy. If this leak did indeed originate from Cam's camp, was it planned? Was he playing nice while planning to drop a bomb? The real clapback occurred on Instagram Live in a raw, unfiltered live stream that attracted over 120K viewers in minutes. Jim let loose no script, no PR team, just pure rage and heartbreak. "I don't care what you guys say, this man has been jealous of me since day one." Jim spat into the camera. Comments exploded. "It's Cam, he did it. Jim went solo. Jim didn't stop." There. He began bringing up old business. This is the same man who denied me tour money in 2011 and who told labels I wasn't trustworthy. Touch family. "You don't play with my woman. That video wasn't sent accidentally and was meant to hurt me." The comment section was ablaze with emojis, viewers were crying, and even longtime Dipset fans were taking sides. It wasn't just a personal betrayal anymore, it was a public declaration of war. "This crew killed me, and now you want to dirt on. Chrissy, you're a clown, a whole clown." At this point, the internet was ablaze with think pieces, podcast segments, and Twitter spaces discussing whether Jim was being overly sentimental or whether Cam had truly gone too far, as well as the fact that Cam remained completely silent. That only made matters worse. Chrissy Lampkin, who is known for staying 10 toes down in all storms, made a rare move of her own by unfollowing Cam on all platforms, archiving every photo that featured him, and posting a mysterious message. We all knew that this was more than just a beef. It was betrayal at the soul level. And just when things got any worse, an anonymous source revealed something even more sinister. Alleged text messages between Cam and an unidentified industry friend discussing a plan to leak something. Spicy to harm Jim's reputation before a significant business deal. The worst part is that Cam hasn't denied the texts, which raises the question of whether he actually did it. Why isn't he defending himself? And why remain silent while your name is being dragged through digital hell? Or perhaps Cam knew that day would come and was prepared to burn it all down, just when we thought it was over. If those texts are real, this is career sabotage, not just petty drama. Just when Jim Jones believed he had revealed every secret Camron might be concealing, new layers of treachery began to surface like a web of deceit. The text messages, yes, they were real, but this is where it gets really crazy. We had reached the pinnacle of chaos when something even more unexpected happened. According to people familiar with the matter, these purported text exchanges between Cam and an unidentified industry insider paint a far more sinister picture. In them, Cam discusses not only destroying Jim's brand with a single video leak, but also organizing a whole smear campaign to damage his reputation in the alleged message from Industry One said, "The right amount of dirt can break him down. Let's hit him where it hurts. His woman, his money, his fans." That's right, his woman, his money, his fans. All the things Jim Jones holds dear were now tools in Cam's sick game of revenge. It also said that this industry friend allegedly told Cam to keep it low-key, but Jim's Instagram Live didn't just change the game, it completely changed the conversation. It was no longer just about the video, it was about Dipset's entire legacy. The public's opinion of the crew was about to suffer greatly, with both fans and industry insiders beginning to wonder if all those years of devotion were just a botched business deal. The internet was ablaze with, "Let's step back for a moment." If Cam did leak that video as part of a larger plan to destroy Jim, it would be the most calculated move in hip-hop. Everyone was a detective. Is Cam behind this? Was he trying to push Jim out of Dipset all along? Could this be a calculated move to regain control of the group? History. Consider this: removing a brother through the most personal betrayals damaged not only his career, but also his personal life in the B process. While remaining silent, Cam's failure to confront the situation right away only fueled the flames as fans dug into his past, and some unsettling trends emerged in a Twitter thread that sent it became evident that Cam wasn't just known for making hits, he was also known for creating enemies. If you cross him, you're done. His silent treatment was his power move, because when Cam went silent, he had already won and knew the world would turn upside down. Shockwaves went viral on the internet after fans unearthed numerous old pictures of Cam with other rappers' former friends who had been discarded once they were no longer useful. According to some sources, the leaks didn't end with Chrissy's video. No, we're talking about pictures, private messages, and financial documents that were all leaked to different bloggers and dubious outlets who were more than happy to spread the rumors. And who was in charge of the leaks? You guessed it. Against Jim, and he was relaxing while watching the show. An unidentified third party who had previously been connected to both Jim and Cam, but this is where things get crazy. This third party, who we'll refer to as the puppet master, allegedly contacted Jim and Cam separately, offering them exclusive interviews and even attempting to arrange a purported reunion between the two of them. However, there's a catch. They wanted control of the story, wanted to capitalize on the conflict, make it public, and make it a spectacle. The puppet master's goal was to intensify the conflict to the point where the two ex-brothers could never get back together. This was the ultimate betrayal. At the heart of it all, Cam Jim is the one really pulling the strings. We can't ignore one thing, regardless of the truth. The fallout from this scandal will impact not only their friendship, but also their legacies, music, fans, and lives, and we haven't even begun to explore it. So here we are at the end of this incredible story, where the destruction isn't just personal. It's not just about Jim and Cam anymore. It's about the entire culture of loyalty, betrayal, and ambition that keeps the hip-hop world together. And when we say public, we mean explosive, because when two legends split in the most disastrous way possible, the entire industry trembles. The financial consequences of this betrayal were beginning to hit harder than any lyric or diss track could. And sources close to both Cam and Jim, who recall having their hands in a number of profitable business ventures, started to leak a story as the world watched this feud intensify. The disturbing story is that both men were losing a lot of money. You may think that these are rumors, but they are from people in their inner circles, including publicists, managers, former label executives, and others. The industry has been affected by this feud, and it's terrible. Jim Jones, for instance, had multiple endorsement deals that were. According to reports, his collaboration with a well-known luxury brand was placed on indefinite hold because the company couldn't afford the scandal that was damaging his reputation and didn't want to be linked to the ongoing drama in his personal life. As for Camron, it turns out that his attempt to restart his solo career ran into a huge obstacle with his business partners, were fleeing in droves, uncertain if supporting the rapper was worth the possible PR catastrophe. What was even stranger were rumors of unpaid contracts, dubious financial transactions, and even that Cam was being sued by a former label executive for alleged financial mismanagement. It was evident that the drama was about more than just a legal storm had just rolled in, bringing with it a barrage of accusations, counterclaims, and settlements. The music was about survival, and Cam and Jim had to make some serious decisions quickly or risk losing everything. Then came the lawsuits, the real business side of the fallout. Initially, it was Jim Jones's turn. Allegedly, Jim had filed an AC. Official Jim's legal team was ready to fight it all the way to court and wasn't holding back. What was even more shocking was the rumor that Jim was requesting in his lawsuit against Camron for defamation. The charges include slander, conspiracy, and emotional distress related to the leaked video and the public attacks on his personal life that followed. Even the most seasoned legal professionals were taken aback by the claim's audacity, which demanded millions of dollars in damages and a public apology from Cam. Camron, however, wasn't going to let this go unanswered and responded with a counterclaim, claiming that Jim had been extorting him for years and that Jim had used their friendship to embezzle money and influence business. In the midst of all this turmoil, legal experts predicted that this case could go on for years. With every day that went by, the public's perception of both men began to deteriorate even more. Was this the end of their careers and their legacies? This is where the real heartbreak comes in. The fans, who have been there for them since the beginning, they are the ones who are suffering the most from this mess, and it is tearing them apart. At first, fans weren't sure who to believe. Some sided with Jim, saying Cam had crossed a line. Others said Cam had good reason to feel betrayed after years of watching Jim play support role, and the underdog narrative was in full force, but it was difficult to ignore the growing rift between the two groups of Dipset supporters when the bombshells came. Fans began to learn more about the story, and the more they discovered, the more their allegiance was shattered. After the video leak went viral, leaked footage emerged that showed Jim's emotional breakdown, including one particularly unsettling clip in which he asked. His only public statement was a tweet that read, "Sometimes the truth hurts, but it has." To be said, no clarification, no apology, just a cold, calculated statement that only fueled the flames further. "My entire career, is this how they really feel about me after everything we've been through?" he muttered as he stared at his phone screen. On the other side, Cam remained unbothered and went silent once more. Understood the impact, but the longer he remained silent, the more people saw a different side of him. a cunning, self-serving businessman who would stop at nothing to maintain power. Some fans abandoned ship, while others took to social media to defend their favorite rapper. The entire Dipset fanbase was split, and the industry took. The more they quarreled, the less power they had. Their unity was eroding, and both men were to blame. The question was whether they could ever mend the damage, or if their actions had permanently damaged the legacy they had created together. Now, let's talk about Chrissy. Since she was, of course, Jim's longtime partner at the center of this entire feud, there was one thing that fans were unaware of at the time. Chrissy wasn't just a victim. Rumors started to circulate that she had known about the betrayal before the rest of the world did, and some even claimed to have seen it. Her name was also dragged through the mud, and she had been publicly criticized. Whether or not that was true, Chrissy's involvement in this scandal only made it more mysterious. Was she really just a pawn in this game, or did she have her own reasons for remaining silent while everything fell apart? The worst part is that this wasn't just about the men anymore. The video had been urging Jim to take action against Cam before it went public, regarding their families, reputations, and everything they had worked so hard to build over the years. The longer this went on, the more those close to both men were caught up in the fallout. Those who had previously supported them were now putting distance between them so they wouldn't be caught in the crossfire of an out-of-control feud. At this point, we have to ask is, the legacy that Jim and Cam spent years creating is now in jeopardy. And it's not just their reputations that are at stake, it's their place in hip-hop history. However, the question remains after everything that has transpired. Is there any chance that they will ever be able to mend what has been damaged, or is this feud really the end of the Dipset era? One thing is certain, though, the story isn't finished yet. The last chapters have not yet been written. Meanwhile, the question of who will prevail in this epic struggle of brotherhood, betrayal, and broken bonds remains. And there it is. The truth about the Jim Jones and Camron feud, the shattered bond, and the hip-hop world is experiencing explosive fallout. But the real question is, who is at fault here? Was it Cam's betrayal that started it all? Or was Jim's own ambition and greed the spark that ignited the fire? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Do you think they can ever work things out? Or is this the end of Dipset's reign? The world is watching, and the drama is far from over. That concludes today's jaw-dropping story. But before you leave, I need to know what you think Jim Jones is. Right to do. Let's dive right into the chaos. Remember to hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe for more explosive content.